I no
Oh,
longer
no.
have to be battered and bullied by you disgusting
JHC.
conscience.
Hello?
JHC,
JHC.
protect me against these
am I?
epistemic realists. I can't do it.
Holy shit, is that Marty?
Yeah, what's up, JC?
Marty? Holy shit.
Yeah,
How you doing, man?
He brought in Marty to bully me with his
I did
epistemic
not. You
realism.
asked
He
me to
brought
bring
him in here to bully me, okay?
No.
You asked me to
Hey.
bring someone in to call you an idiot, basically.
Okay. JHC, I'm going to reestablish
What?
my initial claim because I don't even know where the fuck we're at now in this conversation. But so far, I am definitely losing, okay? The world is very real, okay? And I'm just too dumb to understand it. So my claim to Rem is that I don't know if we can know about the nature of anything in terms of epistemic truths, in terms of the physical world, in terms of whether or not we can trust our senses. I don't know if we can know about trusting any of those. However, I acknowledge that we have to function as though they do deliver us some true information. We have to function as though a priori assumptions are indeed true and that our senses do accurately convey information in the world, but we can't know those are actually true. We just have to, that's my position essentially. And then Rem says I'm an idiot, and I think Marty is saying in nicer words that I'm an idiot. So go.
Do you know what time it is?
It's time for philosophy, JHC. That's what time it
Alright.
is. Okay.
So what's the argument so far?
Well, do you, for my positions as I've stated them, do you think that my positions are okay or indefensible?
Well, you actually, I think, said too much. So if the idea is, so what you said is that you have to think of things in a certain way in order to, like, let's just say survive or
Sure.
something like
Yeah,
that.
so I'm not comfortable using the word have to. I guess I'm using it to avoid absurdity. So for instance, something like
We do it.
Yeah.
We do that. We do those things. right?
Descriptively, yeah, sure. We don't normatively have to, but descriptively we do, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Awesome. All right. Go. Beat him up.
So I guess I should say I'm indifferent about. I don't think that I have the ability to know a priori if, like, I'm tracking the world correctly, or if what I'm doing is just thinking the way that I happen to think, right? Because those are really difficult to figure out a way to distinguish between them, because either way, reality kind of acts and looks the same. So this is kind of like the Kantian dilemma, right? Marty's here, so you guys have been fucking talking about Kant, I'm sure.
I think that's partially true if you take a Kantian perspective, but I don't, because I hold on to, if I was to hold on to Kant, which I'm mostly agnostic about, I would hold on to a dual world theory of Kant, and so I think that the epistemic preconditions do have an identity with the world. They're just not complete, right? So if you say that they don't have any identity relation with the world, then I don't see how you have knowledge whatsoever. But if they're just incomplete, and what I mean by that is, like, they don't completely tell us how the world is completely in itself, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so even like Kant, right, seems like he was wrong about some of his categories. So first of all, Kant's views are totally compatible with a certain kind of skepticism about the world, right? Right?
I just want to clarify
No,
here.
we're
We're not talking about, like, I feel like we should stay away from external world, because really what the fundamental disagreement
I
comes
think
between Destiny and I.
I think Kant is supposed to be attacking.
So if it's not external world skepticism, is it about
Epistemic theories.
like logic, or
Sure, that works. Fundamental axioms.
Yeah, he even doubts things like the laws of non-contradiction and validity.
Okay, so here's the way that I would explain this, is that what I would say is that obviously we assume that these logical laws are true, but they're necessarily unjustified, and even though it is inconceivable to me as a human that these things couldn't be true, it is possible. As a human, I can't make the claim that these, like the law of non-contradiction, is absolutely true. I feel like I can't make that claim, but what they're saying is, well, you're working within the laws of logic to make that claim, therefore you're ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, you might be ridiculous, but the question is does it? Because ridiculous is like kind of a social norm.
Yes.
So you probably are being ridiculous.
which I agree with, which
question-
is why I say I would never function
No,
this way.
that is
of
not
course.
what we mean. That is not
That-
what we mean by ridiculous.
That's literally
If-
what you said, like over and over.
But if the question, well, but I mean, what Rem's
What I-
probably saying is that you're
real
doing
quick, what I'm
something
saying is that-
contradictory.
Yeah, just because
Yes,
it's
exactly.
ridiculous or contradictory doesn't because your systems are like self-verifying. It feels.
Oh,
Um,
but
yeah,
go
so-
on, JT.
So what I would say is, I don't spend any of my time wondering if the laws of logic are like true, but do I have any reason to take them to be? Do I have a good reason? Do I have an argument to say that they're more than just the way that I have to think? As in, like this is just the structure of thought.
Whoa.
And
Hold on. But
Go ahead.
look, if we're acknowledging that it's
Wait.
the
He was about to
necessary
say. He was
condition
about to
for
say something
thought,
that I agree with. Can you let him finish? Keep going.
so the question is are we saying something interesting about the world, or are we simply saying something interesting about the way that we happen to think? And that's a very hard argument to make, to go from well, it's really hard to think of how we could operate without them, to therefore these things are somehow like emblazoned into the fabric of the universe or something like that.
Well, they
But
don't
again,
have
I'm not talking about a metaphysical.
You keep
thing
going to the
here.
metaphysical thing, but I think it's.
I
think
do
it's,
not.
You just said it. You said that you're making it metaphysical, but I think that this conversation has to happen. To
Right,
I don't
discuss
because
these
think
things.
so.
I feel like it always goes to, if you're going to talk about these logical like these absolutes, I just want to know like what are the nature of these things that you are claiming are necessary for.
We don't know. We can't prescribe a metaphysical like.
Yeah, but you're saying because
description
we
of them.
can't know,
It's
it must be
impossible.
absolutely true. That's the problem that I have with that claim. Because we
No,
can't
it's
know
because
about a
even
world
to-
that is
no,
logically
it's
impossible.
Because to deny them is inconceivable.
Yeah, but just because
But
something
we
is
kind of
inconceivable
talked-
doesn't make it true.
But you can pick and choose your logical axioms. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I'll
not-
take your word for it that
No,
things like paraconsistent
no.
logic are not as robust as.
Again, we're
I
talking
maybe
about
have been told.
fundamental laws here.
Yeah, but like again, like what I think what JHC said is true, that like these logical laws, they features of our mind or features of the world? You exist within your mind. How could
I
you
don't
ever
care. I don't fucking care about
Well,
that.
then wait. Then no, I don't care. That's my position. I'm the one
No,
that
but-
says you can't differentiate.
but-
You're the one that's saying
okay.
they're absolutely
And
features of the
Desi-
world.
Desi, okay, we're here, right? So now, when Ask Yourself comes to us and says, "Oh, hey, I can just assume the law of contradiction, and it's not a necessary condition of our experience," you can say, "Fuck you. It is a necessary condition of your experience." Yes or no, Destiny?
I never disagreed with that. But what I'm
Oh
saying
my
is
God.
no. What I'm saying is just because something is a necessary condition for experience doesn't make it a true feature of the world. That we can't know about that. That's all I'm saying.
Oh. So let's say Ask Yourself comes on.
Why do we keep talking about ask yourself?
No, because this is what the root of it. Remember, the root of this.
The root of this is
moral
ask yourself.
realism.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
The root of this is moral realism, moral anti-realism. Correct?
Sure.
That's where this whole conversation sprawled
Kind
from.
of. When you
And
define
from-
moral
and-
realism as like your epistemic.
Yes.
Like yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I said moral realism, I of course said that we can say that moral statements have truth value. Not that we can know how we develop, or not that we can know that norms are, just that moral realism is true. Ask Yourself comes along, and I give the companions and guilt argument that if we don't have moral norms, then we don't have epistemic norms. And what does the epistemic anti-realist say? The only way out of that argument is to say, well, no, even epistemic theories we cannot say to have a true or false value. And you are clearly acknowledging me that there are necessarily someone must acknowledge, right? Someone must acknowledge that there are necessary epistemic conditions that are imposed on us.
Okay, can we solve this? Because we keep going back to this argument.
No,
You're gonna repeat something I've heard a million times before.
SUCC.
This is what we have to resolve. Okay, just because something is a necessary experience for us to compute or calculate or whatever, talk about things, doesn't make those things like true features of the world. I don't think.
Hold on. When I'm talking about truth, why is truth necessarily a correspondence feature, Destiny? I'm not a correspondence theorist about truth.
Okay, wait. So when you say true, do you just mean like they're just ideas that we have and they may or may not correspond to reality at all?
Wait,
Because if that's what you think the whole time, then that's fine. Then I agree with everything you said, and we don't disagree with anything.
For all intents and the ultimate issue becomes, well, how do we choose between certain epistemic theories? Because the theory of truth is an epistemic theory. So we're going to get bogged down in that mess, which I don't really want to do, but I don't think it's totally necessary here. Because let's just say I'm a coherentist theory of truth, for example. Okay, then we acknowledge we have epistemic necessary conditions, okay? And that means that we do have these norms, okay? And then boom, we have moral statements that we know can be prescribed a truth value. Yes?
Wait, can you walk me through that again?
Oh, Destiny, we're so close. We're so close.
I don't think we are, because I think we're going to
Hold
wind up
on,
with the same
hold on,
roadblock that we've
hold on,
gone
I'm
to a
doing
million
this.
times.
Look,
Okay.
I don't know how many months it has been, okay? No one interrupt.
Well, because
Destiny,
all I
you
want to
do.
be able to say,
Me and
all I
Javier
want to
can
say,
join here.
all I want to say is that everything you're about to say, I'll assume it to be true. I just don't like that you're telling me that you can know about whether it's true. That's the only issue that we disagree on. But you're like
Knowledge is an epistemic theory, okay? What
Okay.
it takes for something to be knowledge is an epistemic theory, but you've acknowledged that there are epistemic things that are necessary conditions that we have to have.
Okay.
Okay? So there are epistemic features that are, we can say, categorically true,
Okay.
like, because they're absolutely necessary. Okay? So we have categorical epistemic facts. Okay? So the rebuttal to the companions and guilt rebuttal, basically saying that, oh, well, we don't have epistemic norms either. There's nothing necessary about in epistemology. That argument fails. So we go back to the companions and guilt, and we say, okay, no, actually, there are epistemic norms that we must necessarily have. That you've acknowledged, we do have necessary epistemic norms, epistemic things in our
Okay.
experience that are necessary conditions. Hold on. So necessarily, the argument works, and moral realism is true.
Okay, now here's my question to you, and you're going to claim that I'm making it now about metaphysics. JHC, you have to tell me if this is a fair question or not. My question is going to be, now, what happens if tomorrow you wake up and you were actually in an advanced simulation from a 9-dimensional world where things like causality and all these other truth values, that none of these things are actually features of that world. Everything... Everything in this current world was completely imagined and came from a totally other universe with different true things. Tell me, how can you tell me that that is not a possible thing? How could you know about that? Now, JHC, do you think that's a fair question? Okay, wait, then what do we disagree on?
Because those are metaphysical statements.
Oh my God!
No, hold on. Solipsism is still compatible with moral realism.
Okay, so what do we actually disagree on? I don't know at this point.
We're talking about
like,
moral realism here.
Okay, wait, someone else is about to talk. Go.
I'm pretty sure the entire point of Destiny is that like you're establishing psychological facts, but not.
No,
necessarily something like-
don't you dare even bring in
Oh,
psychological.
God.
You get so fucking triggered. You do not know.
Wait,
Oh my God, I'm getting flashbacks. I have PTSD, I think.
Your view of moral realism is just that moral statements are truth.
Yes, that's all I want to establish with Destiny.
Well,
That's all
hold on,
I'm
but
trying to
I
do.
might necessarily believe that. It just depends on. Okay. I'm going to use terms here. I
Destiny,
think.
look.
Wait, let me just describe to Marty. So Marty knows my view, and he doesn't assume things from you, okay? So my view, I don't know if this is considered error theory or not, but I believe that we can make moral statements that are true or false insofar as they adhere to some arbitrary system that we create. So for instance, I could say right now, by the way, murder, that is something that I would consider not a virtue or whatever. That's a bad thing. So then somebody might say, oh, okay, so murder is wrong. So I would say I'm a moral realist insofar as, yeah, you can say that murder is wrong insofar as it comports to this system I've created, but that system does not report anything accurate about the world. That system is totally mind-dependent, has no existence in the physical world, will never be found or discovered by anybody, and it is a totally arbitrary mind-dependent thing. So I'm a moral realist insofar as you can make true or false moral statements, but they correspond to systems that are wholly arbitrary and unjustified.
No, how can you say that when you've acknowledged that there are necessary conditions for experience?
Just because they're necessary conditions for experience doesn't mean that they're true.
How does that mean they're arbitrary? What does arbitrary mean?
We're
Destiny?
subjective things that interpret the universe in the way that we do, but we can't know if our interpretation is correct.
Okay, hold on.
They're necessary for us, but
Are
we
they
can't know if
okay.
those necessary conditions... I feel like we're going to go around in circles again.
No,
Can I
hold
ask
on.
you guys some clarification questions?
Yeah, do it. Because we're about to
Alright.
run around the same
It's like-
fucking circle.
No, we're
Holy
not.
shit.
No, we're
It's
not.
like divorce court, all right? Just relax. We're gonna split up your shit here in just a second. So, if the question is, do we have to have these epistemic norms? Are they necessary in order to think? I think that's like a really interesting question that seems unanswerable. If it's, are they necessary to the way that we think? Maybe you could make that case. I don't actually know. Like, so for example, Kant seems to have been wrong about some of his
No,
categories.
why are we going
right?
back to Kant?
Well, just because I want to bring this up. For a long time, people thought that, like, Euclidean geometry, right? Euclidean geometry was something that we just couldn't doubt, but that turned out just empirically to be false. There are other things.
It's not a refutation system.
Well,
Okay,
I'm just
look,
saying. Hold on,
Marty
just wait.
and
I'm not
JC
saying yet.
have their
There are
own
other
argument
things
about
that might
Kant.
be. There might be other things that are even more interesting, right? So there's this book by Eric Schwitzgebel. Are you familiar with Schwitzgebel at all? He wrote this book detailing all the ways in which we're wrong about the things that we didn't think we could be wrong about, the things that we directly experience, right? So some people, for a very long time, people thought that they dreamed in black and white, right? And then at some point that just changed. So I have a kind of skepticism. This isn't a direct, this is like an indirect point. I'm open to us being wrong about like almost anything, right? So if we're going to come up with like a priori arguments about these are the things that are necessary for thought, they ought to be like really, really, really convincing in order to defeat the kind of like insane skepticism that Destiny's putting forward and he's putting on my shoulders as well.
I just feel like if you're going to need that type of certainty, you might as well just give up on philosophy right now.
Well,
no. But my argument, all I'm trying to say is that I don't think you need to worry about that certainty. You don't have to have it. Just say that we don't have it and then move on from there. Why is it such an absurd statement?
Destiny. Okay. Round 2. I've got
Oh, no. Wait, we have to let
Hold
them
on.
talk. Because Ram, we've done this dance a million times. We're gonna go this.
JHC, no, Marty and JHC have their own little. I think about.
Yeah, but
Kant.
I feel like JHC understands my position and can argue better than I can.
He gave you a totally indirect thing that is not relevant to our discussion.
Okay, but we're gonna do the same thing over and over again.
JHC also has other crazy.
But like what's shut up, Marty. What's
Oh, okay.
now me and Marty have a history. He doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
But what are those things that we can't be wrong about?
Are you asking me?
I'm just
No,
anybody who
ask
thinks they
Rem.
have
Make
something.
Rem answer. What are some things that we absolutely can't be wrong about, Rem?
Oh, I don't know. The law of contradiction.
Okay.
Right, but
Make
why,
him prove
why
it.
Do we,
Sorry.
Why do you think that we can't be wrong about that?
Because it's a necessary condition. Destiny, you acknowledge this. Are you
It's
going
a
back
necessary
on
condition for what? I understand that
Our
we
experience.
use it. I understand
our
that we
experience?
use it.
We cannot ever not abide by the law of contradiction.
How do you know that, though?
Okay, so
Fucking
again,
get him,
this
run
is
him
to
down!
the state. No. It's JHC's just being Marty. Yes or no? JHC is being a twat here.
Run him down,
I-
JHC.
Marty.
I am being
No,
a
I want to hear
twat.
Marty's response. Marty.
I don't know. My experience with JHC is that he very often
Poisoning the
replies
well.
with-
No, hold on. I want
very
to hear
often
Marty.
replies
Marty,
with, "I'm very skeptical of X, Y, and Z." Right? So it's just like, but I'm not skeptical of X, Y, and Z myself. Is just my reply.
No, hold on. So I'm skeptical that people can give.
Well, you're skeptical
Good
of everything,
arguments.
right? You're skeptical that we have qualia, that we have minds. You take a full eliminatist view. You're an anti-realist.
This is just a smear job.
Wait,
No,
but
no,
actually,
I'm
but no,
confused.
why can't you just say, and this seems to be JHC's position, if I'm misinterpreting this, please tell me, why can't you just say it's okay to be
It's not a
skeptical of...
smear job, though.
What?
I'm not,
That's not-
I'm
how's
not
that a
saying
smear job?
these things are bad. I'm just saying that's what you believe in,
Yeah, but
and like I
wh-
just don't see how I could convince someone like JHC out of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
I'm going to count that as support for my overall
How is that
argument.
support?
That,
Why-
How is that support?
why
because
can't
he's
you just
saying
say-
that he can't say anything to
I
me?
can hold
That's
the
my
view that
argument. Yeah, you
everything
can't
that exists
convince-
in the world is
Yeah,
someone,
but I don't
like,
think you can
screaming at the top of their
convince-
lungs. That doesn't.
Well,
Why can't
no,
you
I
just
mean,
say
in the
that you
same
can't be
sense that you
100%
can't
convinced of
convince-
these things, but you could still have reasonable conversations about philosophy or morals or anything else?
No, look, all
No,
I'm
I don't
saying
think
is
we
it's
can.
about as hard as to convince of someone who's going to deny, simple arithmetic or, that they're
What do you mean by
performing
hold on? But what do you
addition.
mean by deny arithmetic or addition? What do you mean by that?
So they
Do you
would
think that
they
I
would just
don't
be
do it,
denying,
or do you think that what I'm denying is that I have some kind of like meta proof for these things? I use
Well, I
them
don't
the
know
same
what
as
you
you
mean
guys.
by meta-proof.
Like I don't
I don't
shop
think
at a
there's
grocery
anything
store.
beyond-
I
I
don't
don't
shop
think
at a
that-
grocery store differently
You
than you.
keep cutting him off, JHC.
I cut Marty off all the time.
Well, don't.
Go ahead,
Marty,
Marty.
go ahead.
Well, I don't know what you mean in a meta sense. I don't think the analysis of math is a metaphysical question.
Look, if somebody says, "Why do you think that 2 + 2 = 4?" We're going to get to a point where I'm not going to offer like a really interesting argument. I'm just going to say, look, I don't. That's what I take 2 and 2 and plus sign and equal sign and 4 to mean.
Wow,
Right.
formalism, beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's a formal problem, and that's what I'm saying, right? Is that there are certain types of dead ends like that.
Right,
But
where
that
the
doesn't
chain
mean
of
that I
hold
don't
on.
think
Can I
that-
ask you a quick follow-up
I
question
don't think
before
that
I
that
keep going,
means
Marty?
I don't think that that means that they're unjustified.
I don't have an
we
argument.
can
Hold
go
on. I'm not
above
arguing
and
that they're
beyond
unjustified, Marty.
an
I don't think that
argument.
they're unjustified. I just don't know if they're justified or not. Do you understand the difference? It's
Do
not
I
my
understand
position
the difference between unjustified and justified?
not
So, like, what's
knowing
your
if they're
version of
justified.
What's your version of justification?
I don't have a formal theory of justification.
No, of course.
But you don't have a formal. You don't have a theory of anything. Is the problem?
Yeah. There's nothing to object to here.
Well, I mean, you guys are just failing to provide an argument.
Yeah, the problem
Well,
is you're
yeah, but
providing
if your
unsatisfactory
argument
arguments
is-
and then getting
if
upset.
your argument is that no theory of anything will ever satisfy anything, and we can't know anything, and I'm a skeptic of everything, like, yeah, of course, I'm not.
No, it's
I
kind of
don't. I don't
strong-manny.
intend to. I don't intend to.
It's not philosophy.
That's my hope, but that was it. If he says that he can't convince the ultimate skeptic, then that's it. That was
but
my
the
hope.
difference. But the difference, Destiny, is that we can begin offering a priori arguments, intuition, so we can begin talking
Let's
about
do it.
how certain things like
Yeah, but I think JHC.
logic are necessary.
Yeah, but I
I
think-
don't think you realize how
categories are
extreme
necessary.
JHC is.
But the
Maybe,
point of
or I
JHC
don't.
is
Well,
that
it
he's
feels like.
presumably done all these loops, Destiny. You haven't, so you might be able to be convinced by these intuitions, whereas JHC is just.
Oh, sure,
Yeah,
that's
he goes with
possible.
everything.
But every time I talk to somebody about it, I've never heard a convincing argument other than like kind of like the linguistic memes, like the or not even linguistic. This idea that like, well, because you exist within the bounds of logic, logic must be
Thank
true,
you.
which is a wholly unsatisfying, and maybe I might just be too dumb or haven't done the necessary groundwork to be convinced by that argument. But that argument is wholly unsatisfying to me. That because
So
I
you
exist,
haven't because
What?
you don't read philosophy.
Sure, I guess, but I mean like. Damn, so I have to read like thousands of pages of philosophy to understand that point. I
nobody
mean,
said thousands of pages, but I'm just saying, like, in order to get a good sense of a good intuition going about of what's going on in philosophy and all these sorts of skeptical questions that historically largely took place, what in the 16th? Well, really, every like especially in the Greek era, but
sure. Couldn't I just appeal then to JHC's authority here, since he has done a lot of reading?
No, because how many people have I brought on, Destiny?
yeah, sure you can. I'm just
I brought
saying,
on
like,
multiple PhDs.
JHC is going to have a certain type of I think dispositions that I'm not sure would be the same as yours.
Yeah, it's possible. I haven't stumbled onto any of them yet. The primary or the main thing just seems to be that I believe that Rem's claims, and maybe even your claims, I don't know particularly what you believe in, that Rem's claims are just too strong. However, I'm 100% okay.
My claims are too strong.
I'm 100% okay following any of his
claims in the world.
I'm 100% okay following any of the foundational moral realist claims or whatever. I follow those to the end of their logical extremities, and I'll entertain those arguments and do that. That's fine. I'm just uncomfortable saying that they're like foundationally from the absolute ground, from the highest order of truth, are 100% justified. But like the problem is that Rem seems to think that if I believe that, I can't engage in any meaningful conversation. That I must be an epistemic realist. That I must, from the very foundation, believe that these things are 100% true features of the universe, and that if I don't believe those things, I can't have any meaningful conversation. But I don't agree with that. Do you think that my position is ridiculous, or do you think Rem is correct with that? Because I do acknowledge that there is some epistemic truth that I'd be convinced of if I were to browse the literature more, or actually like investigate the literature. But I think that, do you think that you can't be like an epistemic anti-realist and still have reasonable conversations about morals or political philosophy or anything like that?
Do you? I mean, if you're interested,
let Marty
you can
answer.
read.
Let Marty answer. He asked Marty.
All right, go ahead, Marty.
Well, first of all, I wanted to tell JHC that I'm not trying to attack him by any means. I just disagree
Just
with
let everybody know, Marty and I have known each other for a long time. We've had these discussions a lot, so.
They were lovers.
Yeah, we made out several times in Las Vegas. No, I mean, I don't think that's such a bad thing. I just think that, and I guess I haven't really been keeping up with your streams that often lately, and how often you played the skepticism card.
Yeah,
What
I
did
never
recall
do.
when you were starting,
I never played the
Only with
skepticism
me.
card.
What I do
never.
recall, I do recall earlier you were like, okay, well, given that we can't prove all this shit, let's just assume what we do know, and continue from there. If that's your general stance, I don't really have too big of a problem with that. as long as you at least pragmatically engage yourself in certain types of
No.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. No. Okay. That's
Nope.
it. I love you. Okay,
Marty,
that's fine.
you
So
don't
like,
realize.
wait.
Marty,
So like,
you don't
so for
realize.
instance, if I'm given
He's
like,
a moral anti-realist, Marty.
no. Here's the problem. The problem that I have with Rem. So what you just said, I 100% agree. If somebody was going to, for instance, argue with me, is raping women right or wrong? I'm never going to appeal to. How can you know that anyone is even actually being raped? Convince me of that. Like, I'm never going to make those appeals. Those are so absurd that I live my life as a realist in every conceivable way, because to do so otherwise is the definition of absurdity. I totally acknowledge that. But the problem is, anytime I have any conversation or debate with Rem, it always boils down into epistemic realism. Somehow, it always gets there. So it feels like, so if you've like, yes, all of our conversations,
Moral realism.
sure, moral realism, sure, but your moral realism, it like boils down to epistemic realism, because you get to epistemic realism from moral realism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look,
so again, wait, hold
look,
on. I just want to make sure that Marty understands, because if Marty thinks that in every single conversation of philosophy, I'm like, well, nothing is
you
real,
basically
kid.
Are, though.
No,
You don't
only
realize
with
how
you.
fast it
You,
goes up there.
but you're the
reason it
only
goes up there is
person.
'cause of you.
No, you're
It's
the only person, but that's
reason it goes
because
up there is 'cause of you.
every single conversation we have. So Marty, if you listen to my conversation with Rem, it will boil down to that. But that's because every conversation I have with Rem, like, do you think that Pokemon is better than Digimon? Is somehow going to come back to an argument on epistemicism every single time. So that's why it sounds like it. But otherwise, no, I would never pull out the ultimate skepticism card, because it's totally worthless to consider in 99% of circumstances. Okay.
No, because look, if I talk to you about, well, should we do X or Y, right? Okay, and it's a moral question. Okay, and then, oh, what moral system do you subscribe to? Oh, I don't know, some form of political egoism. I do what's best for me, and therefore it's best for everyone else. And I'm like, oh well, no, that's a really shitty worldview you have there.
Okay, whoa! You should be
I'm a
able to
moral
convince me,
anti-realist.
but that's the problem. You should be able to convince me. I think
can't convince you.
You should be able to, because any other normal person would be able to. Any normal person with a good moral system could probably get me to buy into theirs, working within the bounds of what I believe is true, which is where I try to maximize, what makes me happy. I think that most people can work. And when I talk to other people, I work within the bounds of their systems too. If I'm going to talk to a Republican about their stance on gay marriage or whatever, I'm not going to sit here and try to appeal to some weird theory of morality or whatever. I'm going to talk within the bounds of Christianity. I don't think that my system is wholly ridiculous or unappealable to.
If I appeal to deontology, for example, you will have fundamental issues with that.
Yeah, because deontology is
you're an
fucking
epistemic
stupid. Of
anti-realist.
course I will.
Oh my! But the reason you think that is because you're an epistemic anti-realist.
No, I don't think you have to be an epistemic anti-realist to think that deontology is stupid. Marty, wait. Wait.
Your reasons for it are because.
Well, but even if I was an epistemic, no, hold on, Marty. Is the only way to be an epistemic realist?
I did not say that.
Wait,
I didn't say that's true. Don't straw man me.
Okay, hold on, wait. You would say though, your epistemic realism is foundationally rooted in your moral realism. Yes or no?
No, other way around.
Your moral realism is really?
Yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. That's ultimately what it comes to. All norms, I believe in universal norms.
Okay, I think it's possible that somebody could be an epistemic realist and still think deontology is stupid.
But I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just saying the reasons when we've talked about deontology,
okay,
the reasons why is because you seem to be an epistemic anti-realist.
Okay, well, let's try. Okay, wait, let's do a sample. Okay, well, let's do it. Fucking speed. We're gonna speed run deontology right now. Okay, so
no,
okay.
because then we have to have this whole discussion about Kant again.
Well, no, I just want to see if it's possible to have the discussion without it getting into epistemic anti-realism, because I feel like it should be able to, but maybe not. And
so
then Marty,
do you acknowledge that there are necessary conditions of experience test.
Wait, you think that's how you have to start the argument in deontology
How the fuck
there?
do you think Kant's thought is structured?
Okay, so if you were talking to any layman in the street, and a layman was like, is murder wrong? Well, should I think about it being wrong based on how it causes things to happen in society?
Justification. We're talking about justification for a moral system.
Okay, but like, okay, here, let's do something very grounded, okay? Let's talk about criminal justice, okay? Somebody murdered somebody. Should they be punished for their actions, or should they be rehabilitated, right? Now, it seems like a utilitarian would lean towards rehabilitation, maybe, because you can produce a better outcome for society, blah, 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 blah. But maybe a deontologist would say, well, no, this is a morally wrong act, and we should punish for it. Okay, maybe not exactly, but like, this is how these concepts could come up, no?
I don't know. I don't think it.
Okay,
I
so
don't
like
think
in
that's a
terms
good
of like
example.
for somebody that committed an unforgivable crime, or somebody committed a bad crime, right? Should we just do what produces the best outcome for society, like forgive them and then rehabilitate them and move on, or should we actually charge them with a crime and force them to suffer because of their crime? This seems like it kind of like gets at kind of what deontology or utilitarians deal with, no, or consequentialism deal with. No,
Marty, do you think the correct deontologist perspective would say that we should be seeking
I'm not saying that they would
retributive justice?
necessarily deal with, they would necessarily say
No.
that, but that it kind of
Yeah,
deals with similar concepts.
I don't know any adequate moral system that would ascribe.
Okay, so you're
something
telling me
lost
that
my
no
CCC
normal person could
combo
ever have a
because my account
conversation
got
on if
hacked.
I'm not talking about a
axles.
normal person. I'm talking about someone who's actually studied in ethical theory.
Okay, so you don't think that philosophy is worth engaging with anybody that doesn't have a formal background in it?
No, I think that those are precisely the moments that we have to engage with the person.
Yeah, because the view that it sounded like you were about to say yes, which is the most cancerous possible view you could have of philosophy.
No, but you can't you can't start investigating these questions without reading philosophy.
But people do it all the time, so you're demonstrably wrong. What do you mean?
Yeah, but they do it badly then.
But
Yeah,
they still
do it badly.
So you're saying that so if you wanted to have a conversation with somebody about how criminal justice works, your first argument would be, well, you need to read all of Kant, and then we can come back and revisit the conversation?
It's like someone trying to say which quantum mechanical interpretation is best when they haven't read any literature on the subject.
But people aren't
Well,
practicing
that's
quantum
true.
mechanics on a daily basis. Like,
I think in order to get a good theory going of ethics, that you're going to have to study ethics. Yeah.
and by ethics, you mean like have like a foundational like epistemic view of the world and then build from there, and it all has to be
you can
realist?
forego the question of meta-ethics, but I'm not
Well-
sure if you
Wait,
can
wait, wait.
forego the issue of ethics.
Okay, wait. I'm okay with that, I think, right?
Marty, don't give him any bad ideas.
I mean, I'm not saying that you ought not to investigate meta-ethics.
Sure, but I'm not
They're
asking that, but you're
incredibly
saying that
interesting.
you could have a discussion of ethics without fully 100% exploring everything there is to explore
Well,
about
there's
metaethics.
no logical contradiction entailing that you can't, right, Destiny? So, like, of course you can. Logically, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying logically can't you. I'm saying can you have a reasonable conversation?
Well, okay, well then, yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
think
really
so.
exactly sure what you mean by reasonable at that point, right? It
Am
depends
I?
on what sort of normative standards you want to take by reasonable.
Because
And
if
I
I
don't
ask
mean
you
that
to
in a sort
justify
of
any of your
flippant way. I
ethical
mean, I really want to know, like, even if you were to have like a sort of rough estimation of what you mean by like reasonable, what do you take a reasonable conversation to be like when we're discussing ethics?
Sure, a reasonable conversation in which two people can occupy like a similar logical space and then have conversations where both people can engage with the points. I don't know if I can use the word logical there. Do I need to expand on that more, or like?
So are we assuming that both of the people are ethical realists, or at least are assuming it for the sake of the argument?
I don't do two people both need to be ethical realists in order to have a conversation on ethics?
Well, I mean, just take for example, like let's say that you were trying to argue certain types of, I think, commonsensical ethical positions, like murder is wrong, and the other person is just going to take an ethical subjectivist view, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to have a normal, reasonable conversation, if presumably by reasonable meaning that you're all occupying in the same logical space. Because occupying the same logical space presumably means talking about certain types of meta-ethical agreement.
Sure, and I agree with that. So how do you ever persuade that person then to acquire whatever system of meta ethics you're using, and then ultimately, I guess, whatever?
You'd have to argue for the meta-ethics. But your question is that can you have a reasonable conversation without getting into meta-ethics? Well, the answer is simply if you think you can just have a conversation to begin with that already assumes the tacit knowledge that you're both ethical realists. If you don't think that that's possible, then there is no way without engaging in meta-ethics, and meta-ethics is something that you're going to have to do. That just seems to sort of all follow, right?
Sure, I think I agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, so
then do you think that you and JHC could ever have a conversation relating to ethics at all, or would it be impossible?
It would
this
be impossible.
motherfucker?
Yeah,
Wait,
impossible.
Would
Why
you?
would it be impossible?
Because we know your style of discussion.
Well, no. What I'm saying is
But
that
that
I
style
don't
of
think we're going
discussion-
to. No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, JT. What I'm saying is that we couldn't agree on any sort of normative stances if we assume a different meta-ethical
What's a
stance.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Well,
I mean, even if I just like look,
they would only coincidentally overlap. But
I don't really know what that means. I mean, look, I take metaethics to be an explanatory task. It's pretty much irrelevant when it comes to like normal moral discourse. What metaethicists are trying to do is explain what people do in everyday life, and what people do in everyday life is mostly like totally independent. In fact, we don't even have like a great metaethical theory right now. There certainly isn't an uncontroversial one, right? But people continue to do things like have debates on first order normative problems all the time. People talk about abortion, people become vegans, people
Talk about
do
criminal
whatever,
justice.
right?
all
It doesn't
those
really matter.
Nazis.
all those are going to, I think, presuppose some sort of at
Metaethical.
least commonsensical metaethical
Yep.
Like
theme.
what kind of common sense metaethical view do you think your grandma has?
Oh, just simply that there is that moral statements are truth act.
Boom.
You think that your grandma holds the view that
Yes.
some
Yes,
moral
I know
statements
my-
are
well,
true?
my
I know my grandma
grandmother's-
does.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
my grandmother's dead, but I do think that she believes in the
Jesus.
good.
Wait. But she holds the statements. So just to make sure we're understanding each other, so I understand. When you say she holds those statements to be true, she means that with the same veracity that you mean that. True, and that they're like some feature of the world or something like that. Not just true, like, oh, well, of course they're true. Like a grandma might mean it.
Well, I do think that that's what we intuitively mean by that.
Whatever. You think that like they mean like there are moral properties out in the world for us to discover, or do you think that they're reasons fundamentalists of Parfit's kind? Or do you think it's underdetermined? Because they haven't thought about any of these things.
Yeah, that
So-
seems.
So what is the Parthenian view? That's
Parfit thinks that there are no moral properties, there are just reasons, and they have no metaphysical import.
okay. So is this reason supposed to be? Where's this reason supposed to come from?
Don't ask me, ask your grandma. Or you can ask my grandma since you said yours is past.
Well, no, I'm asking you about the Parthid view, right?
Well, it doesn't really matter what Parfit's view is. This is
Well, if
kind
you're
of-
the one who's asking whether it's Parfit or not, so it does matter in this.
Look,
context.
all I'm asking you is, do you think that my grandma has a view on whether moral judgments are grounded in external moral properties or if they're grounded in reasons that don't correspond to any kind of property? This is a ridiculous question. What's the answer, guys? Quickly.
The answer is no. Normal people never
Thank
consider
you.
these before having these conversations. That you
It's
might
not
say that
difficult.
they might say that these are true, but they don't mean that the same way that you mean that. I don't think.
No,
I
what they know,
disagree.
here's what they do, right?
I do think
oh,
that the commonsensical view is
They
that-
just don't like
disagree.
murder, right?
No,
and,
I don't.
They,
No,
and
I
they feel
disagree.
some
That
kind of, like-
non-cognitivism.
I
Ugh,
disagree.
hell yeah.
Well,
Amen, brother.
I'm not saying this is totally what it is, right? But minimally,
No, obviously not.
this is what you think that people like murder?
I think
What?
a great way to test this would be something like incest, where you run into moral dumbfounding when you actually question people on this.
Why do we have to go down these routes all the time?
Well, because I think this is a really good question and a really good litmus test for how somebody develops morals. If you ask somebody if incest is wrong, they'll say, well, of course it's wrong. And then if you ask them why, they won't be able to produce a satisfactory answer ever. Like,
No, I don't think that people think things like ethics are true in virtue of some sort of internal cognitive reasons.
No, I don't think so.
Right, I think that the
Parfit-
common sense
here-
everyday view of ethics
Let him finish,
is
let
like
him finish.
literally that they exist in the world.
All right. I'm pretty skeptical of that view. But do you think what explains why people like Parfit and expressivists, non-cognitivists like Alan Gibbard can agree on first order normative statements? What explains that?
I don't see why that's relevant.
Well, because you said that they wouldn't be able to have any kind of like meaningful discussion about ethics unless they have the same metaethical stance.
I'm saying they can't have. No, I'm saying they can if they believe in something like that ethics are truth act.
Yeah, but Alan Gibbard denies that. They're not
And in
truth act.
virtue of, well, then I would have to know like what type of discourse they're having in terms of what they're.
Yeah,
discussing.
you're asking him to give like all these views on philosophers that he might not be familiar with.
No, but
That's-
I said that he's a non-cognitivist, right? So Alan Gibbard's a non-cognitivist. Derek Parfit is obviously like
yeah, but
the
there's like
moral
two
realist.
forms of
So
non-cognitivism. So
Yeah, you're asking him to, like, you're giving
All right,
a
I'll
blanket
explain this
label
then.
on someone.
What's the question then? I can clear up Gibbard's view.
I
well,
don't know
okay,
why we're
just
even
what type
doing
of
this.
cognitivism?
Because
are we
I'm-
The
talking
reason
about?
why we're
Here's
doing
my
this is
point.
because the central claim was that if two people don't have this fundamentally like same epistemic
Finally,
and
my
moral
favorite
view of the world, they
Minecraft
can't have
streamer
reasonable
is back less
conversations.
than 3.
And so JHC is presenting the fact that two people can have different meta-ethical systems but still come to agreement on first-order ethics, right? So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, I don't know if I agreed to something that extreme, did I?
Well,
No, I
yes,
don't
you
think I
did.
did.
No, that was your
No.
whole. That is the
No,
whole
no,
reason we're having this conversation. You're saying because we disagree.
Epistemic reasons.
Are you
There are
saying that-
epistemic reasons that are necessary, like the law of contradiction. That's
Okay,
all I'm
good. So let's forget about metaethics then. People can have different metaethical views, at least in some cases, and have meaningful discourse about normative ethics.
Yeah, I never disagreed
Cool.
with.
Well, somebody.
Oh, wait,
did.
wait, hold on. Are we talking purely about cognitivism, non-cognitivism? Oh shit, no, actually, I take it back, because I don't think you can think about these things as being a moral anti-realist. I don't think you have a discussion with someone who's a moral anti-realist, and if
It
actually,
happens all the time. Can I just link you
I don't think
papers where
there's any real
non-cognitivists?
discussion going on there.
Yeah,
What
the
is-
discussion isn't really taking place. There's
Yes.
an asymmetry between the
I don't know how to. I don't know
Exactly.
how I could change your mind on that. I mean, I could provide you papers where they've had debates about this kind of stuff,
Well, but that doesn't change anything that Marty just said.
which is that they're not having a real discussion; they're just having a fake discussion.
Well, that's not what I. That's not what I
That
said.
isn't what he
I'm
said.
saying that there's-
What kind of discussion are they having?
He just said.
Wait, say
well,
it again.
I'm
I'm just
asking
saying
you.
that there's asymmetry between what type of ethical claims that they're making, right? One might agree with the other, but not in virtue of like any sort of meta-ethical system.
Right, because their metaethical system doesn't matter, right? It's descriptive.
Well, it does,
It's
because
not
if you're gonna
driving.
say
It's
something
not
like-
driving the first order. Look, metaethics is just people trying to figure out what's happening in regular moral discourse. That's what's happening. There isn't some non-cognitivist is like, well, I used to think that rape was impermissible, but now that I found out that instead what moral judgments are doing it was just expressing intentions or emotions, I've changed my mind and now I think rape is permissible. That just doesn't happen. That's not what's happening. It's not prescriptive. It's just descriptive.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Is
What
that
was
your
what
claim?
was that?
Nothing.
Destiny. Are you okay?
I love the descriptivism. It just feels good. Feels
Because
right.
my only objection with that is that you do occasionally run into people who, just because of their meta-ethical theories, just run into different types of normative theories.
And again, I would say that everything
That are
that's
just they're just
descriptive
going
is
to
tainted
say
by
they're just gonna say
normativity.
things like, no,
Well, so, like,
sorry,
Well, here's a
no matter
question.
what.
Here's a question that I have that goes to JHC's point. Is there like evidence of, and maybe this is a bad question because it might not even necessarily be proof of it, but like, does it seem reasonable that a person maybe does some moral investigations and does some things, and then all of a sudden, like they've figured out an equation or whatever as part of their meta-ethical system, like, oh wow, like mass rape and murder is permissible, I'm gonna do it now. Or maybe like, oh my god, it's become ethical now that I should always walk on one foot and I need to chop off my leg. Like, are there people that are like, well, because I've discovered this as part of my meta-ethical system, this is going to become like my first order, like this is my applied ethic now. It seems like people do this rather like post hoc more, where you have like
I'm still confused where this is, like, what is the relevance of this? I mean, everything that I said really goes back to the companions and guilt argument. That is, and
Let's talk about the companions and guilt argument. So before I showed that it was like pretty easy to get around it by just eating shit on it, right? I can just say there are no epistemic norms, not really. I may still act as if there are some, which is a type of like error theory
give me a
regarding
break.
epistemic norms, right? But I mean, this is a very controversial argument, right?
Your argument.
What?
Your argument is.
Well, it's controversial in the sense that
all
most people are not
philosophical arguments are
epistemic like
controversial.
nihilists.
Like, all philosophical arguments are controversial, yeah.
But you do realize, like, any
Right.
form of epistemic anti-realism of any form is going to be the minority view.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't
Okay,
really,
so
I
why are
don't
you
really
talking
care
about, like,
if it's-
my argument being
what I'm trying to
controversial?
say, what I'm trying to say is that the companions and guilt argument is controversial. Okay, not my position. I took a controversial way out of it because it's pretty easy to defeat the companions and guilt argument by just saying there are no epistemic norms in the same way that there are no normative norms. But there are lots of other challenges to the argument that says, hey, guess what? There are epistemic norms and there are no normative norms, right?
Then why have you never given this argument?
Well, I mean, because why would I need to?
Well,
Like,
so you wouldn't take this stupid fucking position?
Well, he doesn't think it's a stupid fucking
no,
position.
I don't think it's stupid. I think there are like 25 ways to beat the companions and guilt argument. I just picked the easiest one.
Okay, so are you going to give more then?
Yeah, so here's one. The argument relies explicitly on the assumption that epistemic norms and metaethical norms rely on the exact same relation.
Well, then we're going to get into questions of like normative web and whatnot.
No, I'm
And
familiar
that is-
with Cunha's book.
Yeah, yes, normative web. Yeah, yeah. So, and we should not we can have like a private like text. I don't feel comfortable doing it over voice chat for one.
All I'm saying is that
Because you can, I'm not being
this argument is getting like lorded over me all the time, and I gave like a very simple rebuttal to it. I can give other ones that are more mainstream. If we want to do it over text, if we want to do it more formally later, that can certainly happen. But all I'm saying is that I'm not impressed with the argument. Now, if we want to, because I say that I don't really care. I'm an expressivist, right? At least most of the time. So I'm fine actually saying maybe there are epistemic norms. My skepticism about epistemic realism is totally independent of my normative skepticism, my non-cognitivism. Okay. It happens to be that I'm skeptical of epistemic realism. But there's certainly, like, I can just say that what's happening in metaethics is that we're not even trying to express norms, right? All we're doing is we're expressing some other kind of mental state, non-belief like mental state. Maybe we're expressing intentions. Intentions aren't true or false, right? And so if I take that view, which is a descriptive view of normative discourse, I can totally save epistemic realism. Somebody says, well, what about epistemic norms? Are you taking those? No, because I'm not a non-cognitivist about epistemics, only metaethical norms. So I'm fine. I mean, I can pick like whatever position because I'm that unimpressed with the companions and guilt argument.
Fuck, I really wish Neck was here because this is what he studies. Like he studies this very issue. And I feel like I'm gonna do a disservice to it.
That's fine. I'm not trying to call you on your shit, but all I would ask is that we stop saying because when I'm skeptical of metaethics that it automatically leads to being like an epistemic nihilist or something. Now, I'm not an epistemic nihilist in the sense that I act as if gravity is going to turn off or that modus ponens is going to stop being a valid argument for him. What I'm skeptical of is that somebody can provide a really good argument
for why that would happen. Yeah.
To justify these sorts of things. I just don't know. I'm not familiar with it, but I don't really care. I don't spend a lot of my time in the skeptical trenches, memeing it up saying, you can't prove that. Presuppers do that kind of stuff. Not me, but if push comes to shove, if somebody says, can you prove that the laws of logic are justified? I'm like, no, I can't.
Well, no. So again, we can get into this normative. We could get into like the question of whether norms are really, the same or not. But I don't know if you want to get into that because that's a super complex discussion. And I assume like most of the objections would be Olson.
Right. Didn't she already say that like her skepticism of epistemic realism is independent of like epistemic norms?
No, I don't believe that because I believe in I believe in a normative web. I don't believe you can separate the two. I've said that. But I'm saying that I don't think we can get into that discussion here because it's way too complex for a voice chat. Like that's something that that is such a high level discussion that I don't think I can do that over voice chat.
And I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm taking like I don't feel comfortable. It's not a discussion for voice chat. And JHC, would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, I'd be willing to have it, and that's fine. I mean, look, here's what if we want to have like, what's his name, Neck.
I don't think
Neckerhead
Neck will
or
come on.
Boat
Neck
or
is a
something.
cool dude. I like that guy. I don't know if you've ever talked to him before, but
Yeah. I mean, we can have like a roundtable discussion, so I'm fine with that. But I don't think that being like a metaethical skeptic, it doesn't lead to, at least in a straightforward way. Like if you read any contemporary like metaethical journal, they're going to be talking about this argument, and they're going to be articles like why the companions in guilt argument still won't work, a response to my paper, right?
I mean, it's not like the literature is that deep. Like you're framing it like there's just endless amounts of literature. It's not like there's tons of people operating on this question. I mean, I can only think of like, I don't know, 5. Like there's Lillehammer and Cowie,
Yeah, but the point
Fletcher.
is that there's no straightforward link between me being like a non-cognitivist.
Well, but that's part of the whole discussion, right? I mean, you're
Right,
saying
that's
that,
your
I'm
claim.
saying no.
and
Yeah.
that kind of, and I don't want to give away the impression like I did earlier, even though I am skeptical of epistemic norms, that is the only way out of the argument, because it's not, right? There are lots of ways. That's a straightforward way out of the argument, which is that there are no epistemic norms.
But do you think that works?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, obviously, I would say Marty doesn't believe that. I don't believe that because it devolves into absurdity.
I believe
Marty's
that.
Marty's not
Yes.
my philosophical soulmate, believe it or not.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of people that I brought on here to discuss this with Destiny, all of which have disagreed with.
So just to be clear, my prediction is that when I talk to Neck about this, I think that Neck's response is going to be similar to JHC's. I could be wrong, but I feel like he's going to say something along the lines of, he's going to say like, this shit, he's going to say that this shit is not worth fucking talking about, that there might probably not be a truly convincing argument, and just fucking forget it and move the fuck on.
This is what Neck studies. Neck studies.
All right, well, we'll see.
companions
I
in
guess.
guild.
Oh man, I want to. Oh,
Necker would definitely align himself with moral realism very.
Oh my
very
god,
adamantly.
absolutely.
well, but the way that Neck described Neck moved me from anti-realism to realism by redefining some words, so that it was like okay, right? Like because it felt like I almost described cognitivism to Neck. And he seemed to say like, okay, well, yeah, like this can be more realism. Because I think that what I said to Neck was something like, I feel like moral statements aren't anything reducible to like a physical property of the world. I do think that I can descriptively.
Well, nobody does.
Okay, well, I don't.
Well, nearly nobody does, I should say.
Okay, sure.
No,
I don't.
That ethical properties are naturalistic.
Sure. Okay.
Wait, what?
Go ahead.
Let's not get caught up on that.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought that there are people that believe that moral statements exist.
There are, but I don't. It's not the majority view.
Okay, so a moral realist doesn't necessarily believe that?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe that.
Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna think about that. But Neck was essentially saying that. So I was making a claim that so to some extent I'm uncomfortable saying it, but I'm a descriptive egoist. I'm uncomfortable saying it because that statement might be completely fucking vacuous. And I acknowledge that it might be vacuous, but that I could say that, but I could construct a moral system that would kind of like optimize the way that I would want to live my life, and then I can make true or false claims in regards to said moral system. And Neck said that was enough for me to be a moral realist. So if that's moral realism, then yeah, sure, I can do that, no problem.
I think you're framing. I don't know. I don't think Neck would say that.
What do you think I said that he didn't say? Or God.
Marty, do you think he would say that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch everything that you just said.
You guys should write him an email and get to the bottom
I
of that.
do know that Neck would defend like. I think he would defend epistemic norms. I think, and he would defend.
That's his
norms.
whole jazz thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
To the death.
But
I feel like Neck was, or real quick, I feel like Neck was okay with me saying like I don't think I could ever truly know these are true, but I'll live my life like they are because it's absurd not to. I feel like Neck was okay with me saying that, but you think that's wholly unacceptable. Not necessarily.
I wish
Marty, but
Neck
Rem.
would wake up.
Wake him up, dude. Call him. It's fucking philosophy time.
I'm not calling him. No.
Fucking God.
What time is it in France right now?
Time to do philosophy. It's 7:30, isn't it? Maybe even 8:30.
It would just be so fascinating, but I feel like it's 7:35 a.m.
He's probably gonna wake up pretty soon, actually.
What should I say? There's a big slam jam. That's not a word.
I don't think it would be fruitful, though, to be honest with you, Ren. Just knowing what's happening.
No, I think it would be fruitful insofar as Destiny would stop thinking that Neck is the angel on his shoulder that is supporting him.
Well, no, I've never said that. It just seems like
Well, you seem to think that he would defend you in this case. And I'm telling you, no,
I
he
feel
wouldn't.
like Neck would say that these types of conversations are a waste of time. That it's like
No,
Chimess or
because
whatever.
how can you this?
But maybe
Marty,
he wouldn't. I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be
This is
totally
what
wrong.
he studies, Destiny.
Okay, then I could be.
This is what he studies.
I could be totally wrong. That's more or less your position, right, JHC? Am I understanding you or no?
That Neck's wasting his life?
No. That these
my
types of conversations, at least for like most people, are more or less like a waste of time and aren't necessary to explore more interesting. I guess.
That's not
agree with
necessary for
Ram.
anything.
Marty, what
I
you say?
I agree with Ram in terms of like this is probably what Neck is going to say.
Yeah. And
And
Marty,
if it isn't, I'm gonna strictly prep him to say that.
Marty, you and Neck disagree on a lot of stuff, right?
I don't know. I don't think we do on a lot. I don't know
in terms
really.
of methodology.
For what?
Well, like, I just know he's not a big fan of certain positions and certain.
Yeah, he doesn't really give a shit about like. Well, I think he likes Kant, but I don't know if he gives a shit about like Hegel or Heidegger or whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't think he does. He hates existentialism, so.
Why?
I like him so far.
I don't know his thoughts on existentialism.
So my position, roughly, on most of these, like a metaphilosophical position, is like a thoroughgoing like naturalism, which is I almost like don't care that much about what philosophers can like sit around and speculate about, right? What I'm interested in is like how the human mind actually works. And some people think that you can draw these like a priori argument and come up with like some kind of cool conclusions about them. And that's where my skepticism kind of comes in.
Do you like Quine?
Who doesn't love Quine?
Yeah, I do like Quine.
A lot of people hate Quine.
Yeah, but those people want jobs in philosophy, so they don't have to do science.
I don't
Look,
know.
that's a smear. Yeah, I mean, I do like Quine. Like, look, what I want to see so what I'm really swayed by, why I'm like a non-cognitivist, is because I've seen the literature on moral psychology, and I think that the evidence is that a lot of what we are doing when we're engaging in normative discourse is we're simply kind of reporting on underlying emotional states, right? Now, there are people who are like, that can't be the case, right? Because then what about epistemic norms, right? And my position is like, well, we're going to have to figure out a way to like recast these things or else you're going to lose it, because this is what the data is telling us.
Have you read Fichte yet, Ren? I know he tries to synthesize.
Who just gasped?
I did. If we had
Why?
to
He tries to
recast,
synthesize
or sorry, go ahead.
epistemic and ethical norms, because I know Kant like had a huge disjunction between them, and like the later German philosophers were basically trying to unify the two.
Yeah, I know you mentioned Schelling did it.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's only because he's going off of Fichte.
I will read Fichte once I read all of Dummett.
Destiny, I'm just letting you know that you're getting like a very one-side history of philosophy.
Well, I
Just letting
don't
you
think
know
I
that
have
there-
any history of
What
philosophy. I'm
would you
very
disagree?
cautious.
What would you disagree with
I'm
what we
just-
just said?
I'm just letting you know that there are like sane naturalistic philosophers.
What? When did we? Why are you
Sounds
saying we're giving a bad history here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Didn't you suggest? Hold on, just out of we're gonna go here, all right?
Uh-oh.
Did you or did you not suggest? This is kind of memey. Did you suggest to Destiny that after he reads the Problems of Philosophy, he reads Kant?
No,
Are you
No.
positive?
I am positive. I recommended you read Problems of Philosophy as getting a taste, and you read the early modern.
The early modern what?
Like read Descartes a good.
I think
Toe in the
Descartes,
water.
yeah, a thing on discourse.
And then
or
you
whatever was
read
recommended.
like Locke, maybe Leibniz, Hume. Then I would say probably go back to Plato, and then I think you're good to tackle Kant.
You can read Hume. Just read Hume, Destiny.
I don't know about just read. Well, you need to read. You should read Leibniz as well if you're going to read Kant. Marty knows this a lot better than I do.
Actually, just don't read any of it, Destiny.
Amen, dude.
Wow.
I like that one.
Wow.
Don't listen
I
to
mean,
JHC.
yeah, don't listen to that.
He's
That's-
gonna make you go on a Humean route and then some sort of pragmatist route and some sort of naturalist
Hey,
route.
wait, I'm a pragmatist, Marty.
Okay, well, whatever. It's not something that you only want to read.
Yes, I think you should read most areas of philosophy, except philosophy of mind, which is, of course, very silly.
All right. Well,
Are you
Destiny, thank you for waking me up in the middle of the night.
Thank you for
Marty,
thank you.
it's good to talk to you. Destiny, what is this pile of shit that you're building in your stream?
It's a big castle thing, okay?
Oh,
Are you
is
guys
it?
still talking on the debate Coliseum, JHC?
Do what?
What's that?
Are you guys still debating on the debate Coliseum and
Oh,
all
don't
that?
dox me, bro.
Okay,
Uh,
wait.
That sounds like a real elite Discord server.
The
I
okay.
didn't know this was a hidden server.
Any more brain busters for me, Destiny?
Yeah, so here I guess this is kind of like my problem from a personal level, okay? I've talked about this too much on stream. You were doing a lot of psychedelics, bro?
Oh God.
What is this, a meme?
No.
No, it's not a meme.
I don't know, Destiny. What do you think of gnomes?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know if you can like directly relate to this or not, but I had a pretty big meme psychedelic experience where I took way too many fucking shrooms, and the altered physical sensation for me, before I got big into philosophy, before I started talking to Rem a lot, right? I kind of intuitively had this sense that well, solipsism is probably real and the world is unjustified, blah 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 blah. But then I had an actual physical experience with a big shift of consciousness, and it hardcore reinforced my ideas that even reality is entirely fucking subjective. So I guess I've been kind of on this binge, not just intellectually, but I guess emotionally, and that is something that I've experienced at this point. And it seems like it's if there was a way to move me off of this, I would very much like that. If there was a good argument for well, actually, look, Destiny, this is probably an objective truth about the world that you can actually know and map onto, that would feel really good. Emotionally, I would really love that. So I guess the reason why I've been kind of going hard on this is because I have been hoping that I'll hear something and it's oh, well, that's actually foolproof. Yeah, I actually truly can, even if I couldn't trust any of my senses, I think I could peg myself onto that as being somewhat reality driven. That's kind of the big meme push for all of this shit recently, I guess, for me.
This is just fucking ludicrous.
What is?
Yeah.
Wait, which part of that was?
I mean, I've never heard of somebody saying I took too many psychedelics and I need to study some philosophy to try to convince me not to walk in front of a car.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What am I supposed to do?
See a doctor?
Yeah, I don't know, Destiny. This is a little outside of my wheelhouse.
Listen, dude.
Look,
come to LA, I'll get you some shrooms and we'll go fucking hard, buddy, okay? We'll go.
Absolutely never going to happen.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're too scared to do the investigations, maybe metaethics just isn't for you,
I want to
JHC.
do it. I'll do shrooms one day.
All right.
I'll record it, and that'll be what if I become an epistemic?
I hope you do,
anti-realist?
dude. It would make me so fucking happy. I could watch you fucking destroy your life. It'd be good.
I mean,
I'd
if you
kill
want a
myself.
philosopher,
Well, not that, but
Oh no.
if you just want a philosopher who will make you trust your senses, wouldn't Putnam be a good choice? Or I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God, I fucking love Putnam.
Putnam changed his mind, so it's probably a bad.
Well, Putnam changed his mind and then changed his mind again, right?
No, he died as an anti.
Yeah.
well,
he gave up on it.
I mean,
Internal realism bunk.
you could
Yeah.
read Searle, right? Or
Well,
who else is
that doesn't really relate to
direct,
Putnam,
so-
but
Yeah. Also, he's
I
in
mean-
trouble for sexual assault, so.
that's true. He did watch porn in front of his assistant.
Nice. I mean, there's decent arguments for direct realism. I don't know.
Look, Destiny, I don't think you're going to find anything in philosophy. Sorry, bud. I wish I could help you.
no, looks like everything
So
is...
your message as someone who studied philosophy, don't study philosophy.
Yeah.
It's not satisfying, okay?
That is awful.
Listen,
I
in
feel very
Russell's book, he used this fucking meme line where he's sometimes philosophy makes people uncomfortable because it shows them how much they don't know. But in reality, it just shows us that there's so much more that we can't know. That doesn't feel very satisfying to me.
Yeah, but I'm cool with that.
Okay, I guess for me, maybe because I have too big of an ego or I'm too much of a narcissist. The idea that there is like so much of the universe that I can just never know anything about is a very uncomfortable idea to me. I really don't like it. But
I
mean,
have a question for JHC.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable saying where you align politically?
Yes.
Where?
Technocrat.
Did you say I'm a technocrat? Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty far left.
Are you actually a technocrat?
Republicans are fucking dumb, dude. Technocrat means no more.
I'm kind of cynical. So I no longer really believe in the virtues of democracy. But I don't really know what I would replace it with. So I don't know what to tell you. Kind of like I guess like I'm far progressive.
What happened to the
But
technocracy?
I'm not a commie, and I don't really trust people to make the right decisions on
So
anything.
technocrat? Is that really? You think the scientists will do it well?
I don't. I mean, yeah, kinda. There are some problems. No, I don't literally think we should be ruled by scientists, but I think that our only hope to get out of some things is for like scientific progress on some of these issues.
What do you think of Elon Musk?
I don't really think about him that much.
Okay.
I don't really.
So you
care.
don't like want him in charge or something?
No.
Okay.
Well, hold on. That's not a rejection or refutation or has anything to do with
A
fucking
guy in chat is
techno
wondering
anything.
how
He
many
was. I
grams
was
of
just wondering.
shrooms you took.
I'm not here to grill his political.
Okay, yeah. Well, because
Please.
Elon
I was
Musk
just
is a
curious.
fucking moron for a lot of reasons. That has nothing to do with if
I
we
was
should
trying to
close.
see what type of technocrat he was.
Oh.
I hate technocracy myself.
You what?
I really
The actual term is epistocrat.
Okay, that sounds a bit worse than technocrat though.
It's fine.
What is epistocrat? What does that mean? Do you like want fish to rule the
It sounds like
planet?
Episcopalian.
Hey bud,
like
I
rule by
DM'd you on
knowledge.
Reddit about the subreddit.
Yeah.
Elon
Yeah,
Press
pretty much.
Dockers.
Oh my goodness, ruled by fish.
Basically, I think that we should have a democracy where because I have formal training in philosophy, my vote should count for 500, and Rem should count for -10 because he's a moral realist.
Oh, this is like Plato's philosopher game.
That's just smearing, JHC.
Prove it, Marty.
Yeah? Lord.
God, the gloves. Like, look, Marty and JHC's like, it goes deeper than even ask yourself and minds.
It's not that bad.
Oh, listen. All I'm happy about is that my position isn't completely and totally fucking absurd. Okay, that's all I wanted.
No.
to demonstrate.
To
And
be
I feel
clear,
like
it
that's been
is.
demonstrated.
No. To be clear, it is.
Yeah, but why not get as good in philosophy as you are in StarCraft 2? I mean, Destiny.
Well, because
That's a
like
really good
it feels
question.
like I can read things that Plato was asking about, and then I can come to now, and we still don't know the answer to any of these questions. Like,
I know. I feel quite comfortable in my position.
Dude,
You
do
do,
not
but I
think
could
that
find, like-
certain people plateau.
what?
Plateau in StarCraft 2, bro.
Well, it doesn't feel like I don't know. I feel like, oh, I'm gonna borrow. I don't know if this counts as scientism or not, but like science is like a body that we build on. Like if I want to do like investigations into like engineering or something of any particular thing, I can stand on the shoulders of giants and do more investigation and like make real empirical progress. My microprocessors, you know, the nanometer gap between the fucking atoms is smaller and smaller, or the transistors and shit. Like these are all like measurable improvements. But for like philosophy, you know, like 10,000 years ago, I bet some dude banging
Unless
on a
you're
wall.
a scientific anti-realist, and then what? Boom.
Well, you're still
That's
using
how
a.
this whole
That's fine,
discussion
but you're still
started.
using a computer. You're still doing right. Like I mean, but
And you're still, so you could do the same thing with philosophy. LOL, you're always doing philosophy, ha. Like,
well, like I think that philosophy is useful.
But science
like
has tangible
I guess like
results.
well,
Philosophy has no tangible results.
kind of. So like,
well,
to-
why do we?
Whoa!
Why do we need tangible results? Haha.
I'm not saying you need them, but I'm just drawing a distinction.
yeah, like
yeah,
I
but
think
it's
that
just like
That's also like
what you're
wrong.
saying is that in virtue of tangible results, now this thing is good. But it's just like, okay, well, you're just begging the question for tangible results as being what's good.
I don't
It's
think he
just
was
like-
saying good. I think he was saying
No, I'm not
desirable. He was saying
I'm not making a
desirable.
value claim, right? I'm just
I'll
saying
make
that
I'll make the value claim. I'll make the discord claim. Science produces
No,
things
but
that I
don't
find
understand
valuable.
then,
But
if what you're saying is that it has tangible results and nothing else, okay, that's fine. Like, but so what? What does that add?
well, that
on
was
to
exactly
this
what your
debate?
question was. You said, "Why do you care? Why not investigate philosophy as much as you have for other things?" And it seems to me
So it
unsatisfying.
is a value claim.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that it seems as though it is unsatisfying that philosophy hasn't produced answers to any fundamental questions that have been asked ever in philosophy. So like, what can we know about truth, or what can we know about moral claims? These are still just as debated now. It seems, I could be wrong, the debates might be deeper, but it seems like these are just as debated now as they were when they were initially asked 10,000 years ago. Like,
that's definitely false.
Okay, wait. So you have like a good theory of moral truth that you feel comfortable? Like I could put a gun to your head as God.
It's just like the
Okay, wait. Do you have a
entire
theory?
point of philosophy? No, hold on. The entire point of philosophy isn't just epistemic claims. They're not just going to be, and they're not just going to be ethical claims. I think you can get into theory. I think you can have interesting conversations about critical theory, and there are definitely like conversations that build off of each other, even though you might ultimately disagree with them. But disagreement isn't a bad thing.
Well, I'm not saying disagreement is a bad thing, though. I'm saying that the fact that no progress has been made towards like it just spending a lot of time investigating claims that seem to have no answer or that are unknowable is what I would say.
Well, if you're switching the question to progress, then you can certainly be a scientific anti-realist and jettison the idea of progress.
Yeah.
In terms of utility. But if you also want to talk about philosophical utility, I don't see a problem with saying like, well, in terms of just the quantitative amount of philosophy that we have today compared to how much we used to, like it seems at least qualitatively more useful in that sense.
I mean, sure. So your initial question was asking me why I don't take a lot of time and begin like serious investigation of philosophy. My answer is that it doesn't seem like it produces anything, I guess, useful. I mean, like you can tell me what's
your definition of useful?
Wait, hold on. Let me red pill destiny a little bit.
Yeah, go.
So one thing that philosophy is really useful at is teaching you how to like think through issues
and this is what I was going to say before I got cut off like 15 million times. One of my favorite reasons for doing any philosophy is because they've allowed me to question things that I took for granted before, and I value that. That's something that is awesome to me, that if I have an intuitive belief, I feel like I have some tool set now, obviously not like fucking, master philosopher or whatever, but I feel like I have like a reasonable way of which to analyze beliefs that I held to be self-evident before. I enjoy that. I like that. And I feel like philosophy has given me like ways to think about problems that I never would have had before. I do appreciate that. But that's a far cry from like spending 10 years investigating epistemic anti-realism. That is the difference, right?
Well, you just seem to keep moving the goalposts with those kinds of statements.
Wait, what? Okay, wait. What did you think I initially said, and then what do you think I'm saying now?
Well, I'm not really sure, right? Because you keep saying like it's not really useful, and then I'm telling you like ways it might be useful. JHC just told you a way it's useful, but then you went on from useful to useful in this particular way.
Yeah, sorry, that's
right?
okay. Let me give a full answer then before 15 people start.
Actually, initially you said.
I know, but initially I didn't even get to finish what I was saying because you guys started immediately talking about something else. Like, obviously, like the first thing, I'm pretty sure I said this on stream like 15 years ago, when I was a baby in the womb.
Man, all I'm saying is just be a little bit more clear with the language.
I'm trying to, but I keep getting cut off. Oh my God. Clearly, philosophy gives you good ways to think. I think everybody would agree with that. Learning about like logical fallacies and fucking logic truth tables or all that shit are all like very nice and even, ways to think about moral actions I think are very valuable. I'm not moving the goalpost here. These are ideas that I've had for fucking 10 years that everybody on my stream will understand that I've said these things. What?
You should read, I don't know if you're going to take a recommendation, but I'd at least read like the first 30 or 40 pages and see what you think. But read like some Frankfurt School stuff.
Oh my God!
That is true.
You should read at least some Marcuse.
I thought I had to read the Republic next. I thought that was my next meme.
I didn't say that.
Destiny, just don't listen. Please don't listen to them, please.
No, you want to read.
Are you scared I'll become a Marxist?
No, it has nothing to do with
I'm scared
Marxism.
you're going to become incoherent.
Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with incoherence. JHC basically thinks that any jargon that isn't analytic is bad because.
Look, I'm an analytic. I'm probably the only analytic I think on TPC who's a regular there, and I very much see the value in something like the Frankfurt School, and in most areas of I think the whole analytic continental divide is really dumb as fuck.
It doesn't really make any sense.
And to smear continental as being incoherent is just
lazy philosophy.
Disgusting. Yeah, it's lazy philosophy. That's really gross.
Right. Well, enjoy your track Destiny through French, constructionists. Just watch like two ContraPoints videos, Destiny, and call me in the morning. All right.
Read of grammatology.
All right, I'm going to bed.
All right. Good night, buddy. Thanks for joining us.